Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Mark Gower. I'm the Governor's Official Secretary and I'll be emceeing the ceremony. And the very first thing we need to do is to welcome our official guests. So if you're able, would you please stand for the arrival of our official guests? Mrs Marjorie Voss, OAM, Member of the Order of Australia Association, representing Associate Professor John Harden, AM, Chairman of the Order of Australia Association, Queensland Division. Mr John Paul Ambrook, MP, Shadow Minister for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games candidature, Shadow Minister for Sport and Racing, Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Members for Surfers Paradise, and representing the Leader of the Opposition and Shadow Minister for Trade, Mrs Deb Frecklington, MP. Deputy Commissioner Paul Stewart, APM, Deputy Commissioner of Community Corrections and Specialist Operations, representing the Commissioner, Mr Peter Martin, APM, Queensland Corrective Services. And Mrs Kay Daines, OAM, representing Mr Andrew Kendall, National President of the Australian Bravery Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in welcoming our official guests. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please take a seat and we'll wait for the arrival of His Excellency. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you're able, would you please stand for the arrival of the Governor of Queensland and Mrs de Jersey. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Your Excellency, with your permission, I'll begin. His Excellency, the Governor, will present the following Australian Honours and Awards and Bravery Decorations. Appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Associate Professor Alexander Stewart Forrest. For distinguished service to dentistry, particularly to forensic odontology, through leadership positions in Queensland Health, professional associations, and in No. 2 Expeditionary Health Squadron, conducting disaster victim identification in numerous locations in Australia and internationally, and to education in the field of head and neck anatomy. Professor Linda Jane Richards. For distinguished service to medical research and education in developmental neurobiology and to community engagement in science through the University of Queensland and through various advisory, research and editorial positions with professional associations, academies and research councils. Appointed a Member of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Professor Bruce Black. For significant service to otolaryngology and to medical education through the University of Queensland, Hear and Say Centre for Deaf Children, Brisbane, and Queensland Hospitals, and through a wide range of memberships, appointments and leadership roles with professional associations. Ms Veronica Mary Casey. For significant service to nursing, to medical education and to community health through the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia, nationally and in Queensland, and other professional associations, and through leadership roles in health administration. Professor Anne Bernadette Chang, for significant service to paediatric respiratory medicine as a clinician and researcher at hospitals and research institutions through positions with Asthma Australia and various professional organisations, and an extensive record of published peer-reviewed papers. Emeritus Professor Gabriel Aidan Moons, for significant service to the law and to higher education through senior academic and leadership positions with several Australian universities to the level of Pro Vice-Chancellor, and through publications, research and advisory roles with professional associations domestically and internationally. Ms. Catherine Gay Reid, for significant service to healthcare delivery as co-founder of the Icon and Epic Healthcare Groups, and to philanthropy as co-founder of Epic Good Foundation and supporter of a range of Indigenous, sport and other initiatives, as well as service through a range of boards. Distinguished Professor Arun Kumar Sharma, for significant service to computer science and information technology through computer science research and leadership positions with a wide range of government and business entities, including as Deputy Vice-Chancellor of QUT and as a board member of several community and industry entities. Mr. Mahalingam Sinanthambi, for significant service to the building and construction sector and to the community through leadership of Springfield City Group and patronage and membership of several international business councils and community organisations advancing trade and the interests of people of Indian origin in Australia. Mr. William Brisson Watson, for significant service to the plumbing industry as a plumber and as a board member, executive member and chair of several professional associations and industry licensing organisations, and to the community through a range of benevolent endeavours. Awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Professor Peter Ashworth. for service to science in the field of sustainable energy as Chair of Sustainable Energy Futures and affiliate and adjunct professorships at the University of Queensland, and through contributions as a Chairman, Investigator, Group Leader and Panel and Advisory Board member for a range of climate and energy research bodies. Mr. Henry Vivian Bath. For service to the community of Cedar Pocket through leadership and membership of youth and education committees and initiatives, the Cedar Pocket and Greens Creek Rural Fire Brigade, and as a chairman, area representative and advocate of the dairy industry in the Wide Bay region. Ms. Marie Josephine Burley. For service to the communities of the Hunter and the Gold Coast. Mrs. Gloria Jean Shea. For service to the community of Maryborough through executive, office bearer, volunteer and fundraising roles with veteran support, arts and community service organisations, and through volunteering policing with Queensland Police. Mr. Vincent Harold Che. For service to the community of Maryborough through executive, office bearer and volunteer roles with veterans, support, arts and community service organisations, and through volunteer policing with the Queensland Police. Mr. Wayne Maxwell Cole. For service to surf lifesaving as a dedicated member of the Point Lookout Surf Lifesaving Club in positions including Regional Examiner, Club Captain, President and Life Member, and to the community through wider endeavours. Mr. Matthew Stephen Condon. For service to the community through his work as a senior journalist and assistant editor of the Courier Mail, as an author of several works of fiction, and as an author of 4 non-fiction works which contributed to public awareness of corruption and to improve transparency, particularly within the Queensland Police Service. Mr. Trevor John Corbell, for service to the community through local government, including as a councillor and Deputy Mayor of Mount Barker Council, and through a range of organisations, including as an advocacy manager and committee member of Diabetes Australia. Mr. William Martin Corton, for service to the maritime recreation industry as a marine trainer and instructor in coastal bar crossings and offshore boating and fishing, and Chairman of the Marine Education and Training Division of Marine Queensland, promoting boating and fishing as a magazine contributor and report writer and through Brisbane boat shows. Mr. David John Devers, for service to the community through charitable initiatives including roles as Director and Committee Chairman of the Budrum Foundation, through coordinating Budrum's 150th anniversary celebrations and as a member of the Community Advisory Committees. Mrs. Lydia Gentle, for service to engineering through BHP Billiton as Engineering Manager, BMA Modifications and Operations Projects, and as a member of the Coal Inclusivity and Diversity Committee, and as a Speaker, Member and Board Member of professional associations. Mr. Sean Gordon, for service to education as a Principal and Life Member of the Australian Catholic Primary Principals Association and to the community as a leader of the State Emergency Service and founder and Chief Executive Officer of Anxiety and Youth Suicide Prevention Charity School Aid, and in his lead of the SES team in Thredbo for the rescue of Mr. Stuart Diver in 1997. Mr. Michael John Harding, for service to the construction industry through management and representative roles at national level for housing and builders professional associations, improving workplace health and safety, and as an Army reservist in engineering and community roles. Mr. Daniel Gargett Stewart, for service to surf lifesaving in various office, bearer and executive roles with the Palm Beach Surf Lifesaving Club to the level of President. Mrs. Patricia May Walker. For service to the community of Moore Park Beach through membership and leadership positions in Lions Club as patron, president and organiser of the Moore Park Beach Festival of Arts, and as an organiser, member and supporter of fundraising events and community associations. Mrs. Beverly Laura Walsh. For service to Surf Lifesaving, including as Life Member, Chairman, District Supervisor, Judiciary Committee and Board Member of the Point Danger branch of Surf Lifesaving Queensland, as Carnival and Sectional Referee and Life Member for Surf Lifesaving Queensland, and as a member of Southern Gold Coast Clubs. Ms. Patrina Zaffer. For service to the community of the Gold Coast as Ambassador, Fundraiser, Event Host, Patron, Judge and Board Member of numerous high-profile events, including with Cancer Council Queensland and to broadcast media. Awarded the Group Bravery Citation, Mr. Cyril Idris Cairns, Mr. John Francis Collins, the late Mr. Jeffrey Grant, to be received by Mrs. Gloria Grant, Mr. David Jefferson, Mr. Michael James Kindness, Mr. Roy Stanley Koplik. On the morning of the 2nd of December 1987, Queensland Correctional Officers provided assistance during a fire and inmate riot at Maximum Security Prison in Dutton Park, Queensland. At around 11:45am, prisoners of the former jail in Dutton Park began to throw furniture, set fires and destroy property. Prisoners armed themselves with makeshift weapons and were rampaging through the corridors. About 20 inmates not involved in the mayhem, who were concerned for their safety, approached the correctional officer, who allowed them to cram into his office. External police officers and emergency service vehicles began to appear outside the walls, and attempts to extinguish flames were made at the back of the prison. With the intent to restore control from the outer perimeter, orders were issued for correctional officers to secure records and evacuate the prison. Some officers remained inside to provide safety to inmates not involved in the rioting. Prison hospital staff were also discovered inside the hospital area, and after inmate patients were secure, staff were escorted from the prison. Other officers who had evacuated re-entered the prison to provide assistance when a fire was noticed in C Wing. On entering C Wing, officers discovered panicked prisoners concerned for their safety. Other officers arrived and assisted the panicked inmates over locked barriers and to the stairways, allowing them to access the lower level and to be released from the burning C Wing. At H Wing, several hundred prisoners were locked into their cells to ensure their safety, and despite the danger of approaching armed rioting inmates, several officers used hoses in an attempt to extinguish fire breakouts. Despite the state of mayhem and danger, 2 officers also remained at the reception chief officer's station to preserve the security of the keys and other vulnerable items. A short while later, correctional officers re-entered the prison and quelled the rioting inmates. For their actions, the recipients are recognised by the award of a Group Bravery citation.
And I congratulate you on your courage under provocation.
Your Excellency, that concludes this afternoon's awards. Could I now invite you to address the recipients and their guests?
Official guests, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, my wife Kay and I are delighted to welcome you all to Government House this afternoon for today's very special ceremony. I at once acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we gather, the Turrbal and Yagara peoples, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, with a message of encouragement to their young emerging leaders. It is Kay's and my great pleasure that you are all here with us today. Great community significance is attached to these ceremonies, where we pause to pay gratitude for contributions which bind our society. That's why ceremonies are held before official guests here at Government House, an important symbol of statehood and community. For our recipients and their proud families and friends, today is differently significant. It's personally significant. As anyone who has ever been the recipient of such an award knows, the time, dedication and hard work on the journey to being in this room today often belongs to more than just the recipient. And so I say congratulations to everybody here today. The act of investiture has its origins in the Middle Ages. The word stems from the Latin verb vestire, to dress, or vestus, robe. Investiture in the Middle Ages was the ceremonial act of dressing people in robes to signify their taking up certain roles. In the 11th and 12th centuries, investiture was a very serious business and not without controversy. Such was the significance of investitures that there was a tug of war about who had the power to perform them. I'm very pleased to say that in the modern age, such tussles are well and truly behind us. And it is my happy duty to have the opportunity, as the representative of Her Majesty, our Head of State in Queensland, of dressing you with your awards at ceremonies like this. The Investiture Ceremony we witness today is a contemporary translation of those centuries-old traditions. Like many great traditions, it has evolved over time to remain appropriate for the time and community in which it takes place. As such, I'm sure our recipients won't mind my gloating about them on my official social media accounts. Indeed, it is clear from the citations read today that you are here based on your meritorious actions. It is truly wonderful to have this opportunity to recognise the work of Queenslanders who have, in a variety of ways, contributed to the betterment of our community. I'm always amazed at the many fields represented at these ceremonies, from medical practice, research and education to nursing, community health and philanthropy. We have heard of dedicated contributions to the law and higher education, journalism and media, maritime safety, building, city planning, indeed city building, construction, plumbing and engineering, and sustainable energy, science and information technology. What a microcosm of a successful society. Many more are committed advocates for their local towns and cities and active in broad community endeavour. It is also humbling to note the many varied ways in which those receiving these honours find ways of serving their communities. Now, the 6 individuals who have also served their communities in a quite different way, putting themselves in immense danger to aid prisoners and fellow staff, and indeed the public thereby, during a serious riot at Boggo Road Jail more than 30 years ago. Kay and I have vivid memories of that incident, by the way. Their split-second decisions of bravery will have had lifelong consequences for the rescued and the rescuers and their families. Our community values the brave actions you undertook that day. To all our recipients, there is no single way in which our community is enriched by your work and actions. It is the sum of the parts represented here that makes Queensland such an incredible place and which we celebrate in all its diversity. I thank you all for your contributions and congratulate you all on receiving these recognitions. I further invite everyone here today to join us in celebrating this special day during the proceeding reception. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, would you please stand? Thank you, Your Excellency. Could I invite you and Mr. Jersey to retire briefly from the room while we organise recipients for a photo? Detective Inspector Melissa Anderson, would you please escort our official guests out? If you'd like to follow that.